I'm really pleased to be joined by Angel Ribo today. So a big thank you to you, Angel, for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Tony, for allowing me to be here. It's an honor. And obviously, thank you, everybody who's listening to us today.
I'm sure my listeners are going to find conversation today fascinating. So, but Angel, you are known as the CEO Confidant.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
Angel, please introduce yourself. Tell us more about you, your consultancy business, and how you help others in the many different ways that you do.
Yeah, so basically, exactly. So what we do is we help both corporate CEOs and accomplished entrepreneurs to bridge the gap globally for expansion and exposure as a way to accelerate the growth of their businesses. So, and I can do that basically because, I'm originally from Spain, from Barcelona, but I lived in Dallas, Texas. I've lived in 8 different countries in my life. And I've done business in more than 33 countries, and I've worked with more than 1,500 companies and their C-levels and their CEOs.
Wow.
So that's why I do what I do, because I've been consistently doing that, internationally. And I have learned how to help companies and how to help entrepreneurs to do that in a consistent way so that they can, keep on growing their businesses.
Can you give us some examples of how you actually do that? So what's the steps or the process that you go through?
Yeah. So first of all, we do a due diligence of the business of the person that wants to really take their business international. There's a lot of people out there, they have amazing value propositions that they offer to their audience. And very often, their friends and relatives and clients, they say, hey, you should take this global. You should take this global.
Yeah.
But not everybody's ready to take their business global. In order to take the business global, there's many things that have to happen. Number one, is your business profitable enough? Do you have enough cash flow to do that? So those are the starting questions. Can you support, going global, let's say for 1 year, 6 months to 1 year, to really make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do to test that everything is going to work wherever you want to go in the world, right? Wherever the geography is going to be. And in order to do that, then, there's other, things that you have to talk about, you have to think about. You have to think of, for instance, if your product or your service can be offered and it's going to be of value, the same kind of value that is of value to the people locally, yes or no? And if the answer is yes, okay, so but how? How can we localize, right? Then there's a third step, which is, legalities, right? So there's a lot of, compliance, action items that have to be done. We're talking about, accounting, obviously accounting is completely different in every single geography. Exactly. We're talking about, HR compliance, are you going to go there, like just trying to find maybe a distribution network? You're going to try to find partners in the country.
Yeah.
Are you going to have your own employees or not? So those are the basic 3 steps, initial steps that everybody has to take before deciding if their business really can go internationally or not.
Do you have a favorite or a sort of a sector that you specialize in particular?
That's a great question. Yeah. So although I have worked mainly in 2 or 3 different sectors, I really don't pick my clients depending on the sector. I really pick my clients depending on the business leader, right? The CEO of the company, or of my, the people that are going to be working with. So basically I look for 2 different, let's say, ingredients.
Yeah.
Number one is, do they really want to make a difference in the world? Okay. I really like to work with conscious leaders. Okay. And I consider myself a conscious leader. You were very generous in your words when you said I do a lot of things and I help a lot of people. That's true.
It was one of the things that attracted me to you having
exactly.
being on a guest, because I saw some of the things that you were doing.
Yeah.
And I must admit, most of the guests I have on here, they are actually giving something back, or often a lot back to other people or society as a whole. And I saw quite a lot of that in you. And what obviously the research I did on you. So I was really pleased to see you obviously coming on the show and being able to share some of these things, because I know that is something my audience really loves. So.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I like to work also with like-minded people, so people that also want to give back and want to change the world. And number 2, people that really want to change, themselves. because in order to reach new heights in your life or in your business, you really have to want to change, and change is not easy, you know. And sometimes not everybody wants to change, or not everybody walks their talk, Tony. That's important. You know, one thing is what you say you want to do, and the other thing is what you do, what you show to everybody else, you know. So that's important. You know, that is really important for me. So that's why I really work with conscious leaders, people that want to make a difference in the world, but they really want to do it, and they really want to give a fair amount of resources and time to do it, you know.
Oh, it's brilliant. Have you got examples of, without naming names, which obviously may be confidential, but have you got examples where you've taken a CEO and obviously their business from that very humble beginnings in terms of thinking about going international to actually making them a full international business and a successful one?
Yes. So thank you for the question. Yes. So I can tell you a very good example. I will never forget the time when I met those business owners. Actually, they were both owners and actually a couple. So they were actually married. And I will never forget that meeting, because I mean, they came to my office and they wanted to meet me personally. And they were just like a two people show, right? But they had both worked on corporations, and they had both, their passion was second to none, and their experience, although it was limited, it was already good. You know, they were smart people, right? So we started to work, and only, I would say, in 2.5 years, they were already almost 40 employees.
Really?
Believe it, believe it or not. And they went from only a few thousands of dollars of revenue, you know, to well above $1 million. So, and they kept on growing and growing and growing, and internationalization played a key role. Actually, they started in their own country, and they eventually started to do business in 2 more countries. So that's one of my, you know, the stories I like to tell, because, you know, we tend to think that large corporations are the only ones that can go international, and that's not true. And right now, you know, with what has, it's right now April 2021, so time flies, right? But as you know, everybody knows in the audience what has happened in the world for the last, let's say, 12 to 14 months, right? So we tend to think that, you know, we are more limited than ever before, and that's the opposite. Right now, there's so many things happening online, And you also asked me before, you know, what are the steps that you follow? One of the most important things that we have been able to do at, you know, the CEO Confidant, my brand, the company, I mean, we are already a team of people working on this, is that we have already developed relationships with partners in many countries. Yeah. So right now, when someone of our clients wants to actually go to a specific geography, we already know people there very well, that they already know the market. So we already know who to recommend them to start with. I mean, we already have laid out a full support system in that specific country. And that's the most important thing. And you could not do that because right now everybody is limited with traveling, right? So if we were to do this face-to-face right now, we couldn't. But we were, you know, we developed those relationships already so many years ago that we could do that. We can do that today without visiting these people face-to-face, only through the connections and the relationships that we developed many years ago.
Yeah, I think we all know the challenges that the world has had over the last, as you say, 12, 14 months. But it's also given a rise to lots of opportunities. And I think, as you rightly say, you're no longer restricted to your locality. Even a modest 2-person business can go international because you have the technology. And now, obviously, with your help, you've got the resources and the people already in these different localities that can help you, the people that you help. So,
absolutely, yeah. And this company specifically, they were a small technology company, but they didn't have a technology of their own. They just were providing services, you know. So they became really good in providing services, and they kept on seeing what their clients wanted. And they kept on adding value to their clients. So they were never nonstop thinking, what else can we do for our clients so we can add additional value and it can be of use to them, you know? So I think this is why my main business mantra, Tony, and you're going to resonate with it a lot probably, which is my main business mantra I use with everybody, is take imperfect action now. Take imperfect action now. Really, I mean, whenever you are presented with an opportunity, what you should really ask yourself is why not? It's not, you know, can I do it or not? No. It's why not? What do I have to do? How can I do it? You know, that's why I like to use that very often, because, you know, when you do that, you put yourself and your mind and your whole being into a completely different place to start trying to accomplish, you know, a specific goal or offer a new service for your clients.
I think it's all about mindset, isn't it? So if you put obstacles in your way, and that could be, why can't you do something today? As you say, you should be, how can I do something today, rather than I can't do it. I think if you put your sort of focus on making sure you get these things done and you do it now, or you take the first steps now, then it's going to happen. It just depends on how long it's going to take and what direction you take. But if you focus, you will get there.
Totally. I agree. Yeah, I agree. So again, that's why, you know, you always have to have like a final destination in mind.
Yeah.
But there's multiple ways to get to that final destination.
Yeah.
And, you know, you never know what are the diamonds that you're going to find on your way to that destination, right? So, you know, it's good to have some boundaries, but at the same time, you know, try to challenge yourself every single time and see, because unless you try something, I mean, I've seen that so many times. I mean, last year, for instance, here in the business community in Dallas, and I contribute a lot to the local, you know, startups and entrepreneurs and business. I mean, Dallas is really blooming with business. It's amazing. I was giving webinars to the local, you know, community of accelerators, business accelerators, and I was basically working on or telling them or showing them how to pivot in times of crisis, And I think that's very important, you know, and last year, many companies, you know, we helped doing that, helping them pivot in times of crisis. I think that's really, really important.
I think if you can succeed in these challenging times, or any challenging times, then you will succeed in any period. I think when you've got the help and the support of a team around you, which obviously you provide for these people, then it's obviously you guarantee success. But if you've got the right approach and you are determined to make this work, then I can't see how you can do anything other than succeed. I tell you what, the other thing I like as well, it's not just about, you are right, it is important, you have to have a destination in mind, but it's important to enjoy the journey as well, because you Absolutely. Are going to discover so many different things that you never even thought about, and in particular about yourself as well, because you're growing as you are developing, as you're evolving.
And you know, the most important thing is that you keep on being connected with your audience. And let me tell you an example. So last year, that, you know, there were so many restrictions all over the place. Regardless, almost every single week, I met one or many business executives here face to face, like face to face, literally. I met so many C-level executives last year face to face, and I kept on doing it because I really wanted to know what was happening in those large corporations, in those, you know, I really wanted to know and to put myself, my own thermometer, you know, in the market to see what was going. Unless you do that consistently, you will never know. That's why, you know, I mean, be courageous, have those conversations, be there to listen, be there to ask questions. That's the most important thing. Be there to ask questions.
Yeah, I think having being close to the ground, should we say, is very important, and doing that constantly. But I think, yes, you're right. I think the word you use is be brave. I think you have to be brave in business in particular, but in life in general. And if you are, you will surprise yourself how much you can achieve when you are brave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, last year was difficult for many people, right? I mean, for many companies. And there were obviously industries that really suffered a lot, and the traveling industry is one of them, right? And the hospitality industry is another one.
Yeah.
That was really suffering last year, right? So, But still, what did they do? And I can tell you that, for instance, one of the most incredible things that the best companies out there did last year is actually to make sure that they trained their employees.
Yeah.
So they gave them more value. They gave them more value and more opportunities to succeed. You know, so I think that many companies acknowledge that it was probably a transition year, and although were they ready or not for you know, for the downside, let's say, for the downhill, you know, revenues and all these kinds of things, regardless, they still could do something about it. And the ones that were really like having or were really doing the best they could for their employees, I think that are going to be the ones that are going to see more alignment, more engagement, and then more possibilities for the leadership team to keep their employees accountable. I think that, you know, it's not fair to really want to keep your employees accountable unless you're giving them the right tools, right?
Yeah, I think any good business last year would have reflected in terms of where, or the qualities of that business and how they could position themselves so they came up much stronger, and will do as we unlock the world, should we say, because we're still very much in that period in terms of restrictions, but things are starting to loosen up a little bit these days at the moment. I don't know, it's like in the US and Dallas, but in the UK, we are starting to see there's different signposts, if you like, or milestones where we are going to have more and more restrictions lessened, if you like. So the world is going back to some form of normality. But if you've really reflected on yourself and your business, you could have used much of last year to put yourself in a much stronger position as you come out of lockdown and out of the restrictions.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, we've been really good here in Texas. There's been almost no restrictions.
Are they right?
Oh yeah. So maybe only a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I mean, the only restriction that was related to use of masks, for instance, it was even lifted, you know, in the beginning of March, which was the only remaining restriction. So, you know, here right now, I mean, business is almost like business as usual here in Texas.
Is it right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think, you know, everybody acknowledges that, you know, there's challenges, but still, the question that we have to ask ourselves is not whether we can work together. It's like, how can we work together? It's not like, I'm going to close you down. No. It's how can we all work together so we can keep your business open and, you know, still guaranteeing everything that has to be guaranteed for everybody that wants to come and purchase from you, right? So again, I think that we have to change the questions that we ask ourselves as a society, as a world, as human beings, honestly, you know, and I think that by doing that, everybody will find what they're looking for, and we'll be able to go back to normal.
Yeah, I think you're right. How we can work together, how we can become stronger, how can we make our own worlds better.
Exactly, and we see that here.
Yes, that's great. Looking over the last 12, 14 months, and also looking forward, what trends are you seeing from a business point of view? So are you able to see trends where this sector or this business is going to do well because of what's happened and what the future is likely to hold?
I mean, number one, I think that everybody is more concerned than ever about the employees, right? About the health of the employees, but not only physical health, but also mental health. Yeah. And I think that's good. Okay. I think that's probably one of the most important things. It's like companies have really cared more about this. And I think that's one trend. Number two, many sectors had, or many industries had, you know, downturns in revenues, but not necessarily in profits, because, you know, everybody took measures and took precautions and everything. So what I'm trying to say is that I think that we all learned how to control better the way, and I think that most of the companies became aware of the financial implications of their business decisions, and that's going to stay. Let me give you an example. I mean, I've seen, obviously, I mean, and you can go to any public company out there, you probably see that many of them increased their profitability last year, which is, you know, even if they didn't grow as much as they wanted to, but profitability is skyrocketed. And most of the times is because, for instance, there were a lot of travel expenses that weren't you know, executed, right? So what I'm trying to say is that we and the companies in general acknowledge that there was so much more that could be done online as opposed to face-to-face. But also then number three, the downturn of this is that not everybody is ready to do business online.
Correct.
Okay, and that's why actually we started here at the CEO Confidant. We started to offer, you know, influencer marketing services because we saw that our strong presence online, we could actually benefit, and we could use that as a leverage. You know, we could leverage our presence because it's very strong on LinkedIn to help other companies, and we started to do that.
Yeah.
So, but right now we have to acknowledge that there's many sales forces out there that they are not ready to sell online. They're not ready. They're not ready to have those conversations online. You know, so they are learning how to do their best using Zoom and using other video conferencing tools. So I would say that these three trends are very, very clear right now out there.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Yeah, I think I've seen it on this side of the pond in terms of business. I'll give you an example for my own profession as a financial planner. Then what you do as a financial planner, generally speaking, is you try to build a client base which is more local to you. Because it's a very personal service. But now those limitations have been taken away because you can conduct business online, virtually, as we are today, from anywhere. So
Absolutely.
that is it's a good example in my profession where you can do business virtually anywhere in the world because of technology, where you wouldn't have done that before.
Absolutely. And actually, I've seen many entrepreneurs that their businesses were online, and they have, you know, they were in specific areas in the world, and they were looking for areas in which there were less restrictions. Actually, I've actually spoken with many entrepreneurs that said, okay, so what are the countries right now in the world, regardless of the continent, literally, regardless of the continent, that I can go now and leave, and, you know, I have less restrictions, like, you know, so I could move everywhere, and I could, you know, be more free to move. Because there's many countries out there that in the world that have even had no restrictions at all in the last 12 to 14 months. That's a reality, right? So they have even some of them, they even call themselves nomads, you know, and so again, this is a new reality in the entrepreneurial world, right? So people are trying to find places where they feel more comfortable.
Yeah, and you don't need premises. You can work from anywhere in the world. As long as you got technology, connection. Exactly. You are linked to the world.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a reality. So that's good. I mean, it's all good. Again, it's opportunities and opportunities and opportunities. You know, so it's just,
I think we as a human race are very good at spotting opportunities. And I think that we can be very creative as long as we got the right mindset.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree.
If somebody wanted to go international, so if you got a CEO of a business and they wanted to, or they think they're going international, what would you recommend they do before they come to you? What sort of exercises, if you like, or what things would they need to do in terms of getting them in the best position to be able to go international?
Yeah, clarity. Clarity. So I would say they have already had some internal conversations, or if it's a solopreneur, obviously, if that person has already had some conversations or has some thoughts with other people maybe, and that person is extremely clear of what's the goal that they want to accomplish. What's the main reason why they want to go international? Okay, and as I said before, I think that it's very important that the clarity of the goals that they want to achieve, outside of their own geography, is also backed up by funds. So they really have the financial lungs, okay, to be able to do that. I think that's extremely important. If they have money to spend, I think that is extremely, extremely important.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Are there, in terms of why people want to go international, there's probably a few obvious ones, but what do you see in your experience are the most common reasons for wanting to go international?
Yeah, the most important reason I see out there is because they already acknowledge that there's a need for their product or service in another market. So they have already invested so much time developing their value proposition, their product or their service. They have already spent so much time and effort that they acknowledge that they could do so much more, and it could be a source of growth. That's definitely the number one. Okay. So maybe the spark was, as I said before, the continuous message from other clients saying, hey, you should take this global, or you should take this somewhere else. You should try to go somewhere else, right? There's always also, depending on the size of the company, there's always companies that say, hey, whenever you go to this other country, let me know, because we would like to also to hire you there. You know, that also happens very often when you are the supplier of someone else. They tell you, hey, whenever you go there, we would love to have you there as a supplier, because we know that you would also do a good job if you were there, where we are already, but that's a different kind of discussion with other kinds of companies. But in general, I would say that's the most important thing. They know they can do so much more, and they can offer so much more value to so many more people in other countries, in other geographies.
And I guess one of the advantages you have is that you can connect these people with the people throughout the globe.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I already have those connections. And once you travel, once you work internationally, it's actually, you develop a way to build those relationships.
Yeah.
So even if I sometimes I have to, explore other geographies, which I'm very cautious about, geographies I don't have the knowledge, I always rely on someone else that really has, so I don't take, I think, again, given the amount of effort and resources that has to be put in place.
Yeah.
I'm really respectful with the process.
Yeah.
And I don't recommend anybody to go international or to go to another geography, even if we try to really group services products in a very contained way in all the aspects of the internationalization strategy. Still don't take, I never take risks. I just want to make sure that everything is under control.
I think many listeners would be pleased to hear you say that, because risk is a factor for business, for stop, and life. I think you can, you are always going to need to take some form of risk, but as long as those risks are calculated and manageable risks, and you go into these things with your eyes open, then risk itself is not necessarily a bad thing, as long as you know what you're doing. You've done your research, you've done your marketing, you know what the risks involves, and then you can make an informed judgment in terms of whether those risks are worth it.
Absolutely, exactly. But yeah, life's too short to waste it, with the wrong people. So I really like to say that, it's not for everybody, but the ones that really want to do it, they always succeed, because, they put all the effort. You said it twice already. Mindset is much more important than resources. I'm going to say it again. Mindset is much more important than resources. Much more important than resources. So I've seen consistently people that, with a very low amount of resources, they have been really, really good in their internationalization, in their global, initiatives. And again, it's all about how badly do you want to do it. And when you already have the connections, it's much easier. It's not like you have to invent the wheel again. Going to a new geography and knowing already some marketing companies that know really how to localize those products or services, knowing already some trustworthy partners of yours there. That's priceless. And that already diminishes your risk tremendously. Tremendously. One of the main mistakes also I see is people try to say, okay, so if we are all in the internet, it's the same to sell my product or service here than to sell it abroad. And that's not true, because the consumer habits are completely different.
Yes.
The consumer habit, it's like you're a financial advisor. Advising for you in the UK is completely different if you were to advise in let's say in Spain, or if you were to advise in the US. It would be completely different, right? So and that's one of the mistakes I always see. It looks like simple, right? So the principles are the same. Well, the principles might be the same, but the mistakes might take you to a rabbit hole that you will not be able to get out of. So I think look for advice and make a decision which has been really meditated, and you have really all the different pieces of the puzzle, a list lined up before you, and then you decide.
Partner up with the right team and the right person to be able to help you go to that next step and that international level.
Yeah, and some people, I mean, I'm very cautious, as you probably have seen it, and besides being a very enthusiastic and passionate and everything, I'm also cautious with my clients' business, because again, it's not everything for everybody. And just to tell you an example, I was entertaining a conversation last week about engaging with a large group of international, actually it's an already internationally present company.
Yeah.
And the reason why I will be able to take them on board is because I have a team. I have a team of people working with me already, like directly employed by me. If I did not have my team, I would be completely limited to my bandwidth, and my bandwidth. I mean, so again, and as you know, I mean, scaling up and bringing more people on board, onboarding people is an art and a science, and you never stop onboarding people, and you never stop teaching people and training people, but you have to do it. You have to do it. There's no
you can't grow yourself unless you've got a quality team behind you, and you've got to be prepared to invest and train these people to the best they can possibly be. Because if you can do that, you yourself and your business will do extremely well, and you are creating that right culture.
Absolutely, exactly. And again, it's that safety net that I have that allows me to be extremely clear about what I can do and what we cannot do, and up to which extent. Okay, so we don't personally care directly, about, or we don't directly, deal with, for instance, accounting, legal issues, HR issues, but we know who does it and who does it very well.
Yeah.
Right. We're extremely focused on expansion and exposure, as I said before. Right. And the rest, we can obviously take our clients to the people that we know are going to give them the right piece of advice that they need to go along with us.
Brilliant. Can I change track a little bit?
Of course.
You are involved in foundation, Wisdom for Kids.
Exactly.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because again, that's something that I think will resonate with a lot of people, especially in the current times, because there's a lot of different groups out there that also need a lot of help from us, who are able to give that help. And there's no better group than children.
Yes. So basically, it was in 2017, I had an experience in 2015 that allowed me to see very clearly that I was very, very well prepared to help underprivileged kids in Latin America. Okay, so because I had been working and traveling throughout the continent for many years. I had seen a lot of poverty. I had seen also a lot of wealth, because I was serving those CEOs. I was serving all those large corporations, many of them subsidiaries of multinational companies. Yeah. So I was always seeing both sides of the coin, right? The super, privileged, and there was most underprivileged. So in 2015, I had an experience that it allowed me to see very clearly that I was really well prepared to do this, which was basically help underprivileged. And we created, when I had that experience, I reached out to a friend of mine, and we decided, all three of us, to create, himself and his father, we decided to create Wisdom for Kids. That's the name of the foundation. So Wisdom for Kids is actually an international foundation, and what we do is we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using the local resources. So to put that in perspective, and the most important part here is not only that those kids are underprivileged, but also that we help them do that with their local resources, okay? With their local resources. So that's extremely important. So as we started to do some research in 2015, we saw that there were in 2012, there were, according to UNICEF, 81 million kids living in poverty in Latin America. And that represents around 45% of the entire children population.
Yeah.
I mean, 81 million. Okay. So I forgot how many, what's the population of the UK? I don't know.
We
81
talk
million.
about 70 plus million.
Okay. So can you picture this? 81 million kids living in poverty.
Well, every single person in the UK would be in poverty in comparison.
Exactly. So, and right now, after what has happened in 2020 and 2021, I can tell you, I guarantee you there's many more than that, because this is information, this is data from 2012. So 81 million kids live in poverty, 22 million don't have drinking water at home. Imagine that you don't have drinking water at home, and how would you deal with all the basic things that you do with your daily life, right? If you didn't have drinking water at home, can you imagine? So that's the reality. So that's why we started to do what we do, and all the founders we have been, all us three, we have really been involved in the world of business, in the world of entrepreneurship, and in the world of teaching and training, all of us. Yeah. So that's why we got together and we started to think about how to do this, and the rest is history. We already started to do and helping hundreds and hundreds of kids.
And how is, I mean, in terms of the size of that organization or that foundation you've created, is that obviously purely in Latin America, or are you planning to expand that further afield?
Thank you. I mean, being the numbers so huge, I mean, 81 million. We would like to scale. Exactly. Yeah. We would like to scale faster than what we are doing it, but we have the restrictions that we have. And right now, obviously, with the restrictions that are all over the place, I mean, we have not seen the kids in more than a year now. So we have not seen them. And we get obviously the volunteers that are in the field. They're telling us, even for us, it's been difficult. We haven't seen the kids, so it's kind of, that's why every single wealth generation activity that we were undertaking in the field has stopped. So that's painful, Tony. That's painful.
Yeah.
Right. So we are right now thinking of how can we take this, like what additional precautions, what additional measures should we put in place in order to make sure that we can keep on creating, changing mindsets, building on the self-esteem, and giving them the tools to create their own businesses, given the restrictions that we have. And that's the main question we are right now on, right? But we would love to go anywhere else. I mean, sometimes we get questions here in the US. I mean, you're asking us for, to contribute to this cause, which is in Latin America.
Yeah.
Why don't you do it here? And I say, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And unfortunately we have not had the right partners to do this locally, but we would love to do this globally, because I mean, we really know how to do it. We really know how to do it, and we have already done it.
It fits in nicely with, you've got a process, if you like, and you've got a formula that works for, should we say, consulting with CEOs and helping them go international. You've also got the process that works with underprivileged children, whether it's in Latin America, and I'm sure the principles will work in other parts of the world as well.
Exactly. So, and actually we do everything in Spanish, but we have already tested in English. We have proof tested in English. Before we launched, we had 2 PhD students working specifically on developing the most impactful workshop, ever, possible for those kids. And then we did almost everything in Spanish, because our audience is Spanish speaking, most of them, but we already have volunteers ready to jump, in many other countries, including, as part of Latin America is French speaking, part is Portuguese, and part is English. And we already did a test with an English community in the Caribbean. So we're non-stop, Tony. We're non-stop. I mean, because if it's not us, if it's not Wisdom for Kids, who's going to do it? I'm sure there's plenty of charities out there, but and when we welcome anybody to partner with us, but still, we believe that we have figured out how to do it, and we really like to do it because we see the results.
Brilliant. It's fascinating. I'd love to know more.
Thank you. Absolutely.
We're coming towards the end now, and it would be remiss of me to not ask the question I ask all of my guests, and every answer is different, but I shall ask you the same. So, Angel, what does wealth mean to you?
Great question. Wealth means freedom to me. That's what it is. It's the freedom to do whenever I want, whatever I want, right? That's freedom. Because I'm good in building teams. I'm good in generating wealth for others. I'm good in generating business. I'm good in helping and training. So, that's what it is. Generating wealth is actually impacting the largest amount of, lives possible. That's what generating wealth for me. For me, generating wealth is creating wealth is being able to really change the lives of millions of people, not only of, a few, but thousands, hundreds of thousands or millions of people. That's creating real wealth. And for me, that wealth, what's creating to me is the freedom to do what I want. And, sometimes I'm being asked, okay, so let's say you could multiply 10 times, 100 times your wealth.
Yeah.
What would the first thing that you would do? I would hire another CEO for my company. That's the first thing I would do. And the second, I would inject, most of my resources to wisdom for kids. Definitely. It's very clear.
I had a feeling you would say that, and I can understand why you would too. So I don't think we're that different in many ways.
I like speed. I like speed growth,
I think once you get the bit between your teeth, as they say, you just want to get on with it and make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. I really believe so. And also, you very briefly mentioned it, but working with kids is a joy. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, when it's myself who delivers the workshop to the kids, when I'm blessed enough to be there to do it, I mean, I have a blast. I mean, I am like knackered after a day of doing that. I'm literally like exhausted. I can't. But regardless of the energy, regardless of my, let's say, the exhaustion, I have a bliss. I mean, it's a bliss for me. It's a source of total happiness because I'm able to see the faces of those kids and I'm able to see how, even if it's for a few moments, I can change their lives, the time I'm with them. I see it in their faces. And it doesn't matter the problems that they have behind. I'm sure they have plenty of problems. I'm sure that they don't have drinking water.
Yeah.
I'm sure that sometimes they don't have anything to eat on their table. But regardless, I'm able to help them and to bring a smile to their face that day.
Yeah, well, that's a gift in itself. So I'm very big on financial education. And I think one of the issues that we got, and I'm sure it's the same, obviously in the States as well as most other places, but there's not enough financial education at school age. So part of obviously what I'm trying to do on this side of the pond is to educate people more and more. And that is now starting to filter into children of school age.
Absolutely.
So I'm starting to see obviously the benefits of that coming to fruition as well. So, and as you've said, there's no better feeling than kids realizing obviously the potential.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree with you. And as we know, that's why I love that my own mantra, like taking perfect action now. The kids are just genuine. They're spontaneous. They just follow the fun, right? And follow what you're telling them to do. When you're having, I mean, in those workshops, we dance, we jump, we tell stories, we dance, we meditate, we do all sorts of things, all in order to make sure that we leave we make an impact to those communities when we go there.
Great, brilliant. Angel, so we are coming to an end now. I must admit, I've really enjoyed our chat today. If people wanted to work with you in terms of taking their business international, or on your foundation side with the children, they want to get involved more with that, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way to do it is you will see that I am very present online, both Angel Ribo, my last name is spelled R-I-B as in boy O, and Angel is spelled like an angel from heaven. So you can Google me. I'm present everywhere. I'm very active online. I post on every single social media outlet, or the top ones, every single day. I'm very active online. Again, I can do that because of my team, right? And you will see my brand, the CEO Confidant, also everywhere. So the easiest way to reach out to me is actually to send me an email.
Okay.
And it's very easy. My email address is extremely simple. It's angel@angelribo.com. Angel@angelribo.com. It's either myself or my team are going to answer those emails. So, and then we can have a conversation. And again, I don't like, hard selling. So I have a lot of, fireplace conversations with a lot of people all the time. Okay, so just feel free to drop me a line, or let's jump into a conversation like this one over video, and let's see what comes up.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's you want to enjoy what you're doing. You want to enjoy working with others. I think it's much better to do it in a more relaxed fashion, should we say?
Absolutely, yeah.
I will put up some of the links in the show notes as well, so that will help for people to be able to contact you. So,
thank you,
Angel. Thank you so much for joining me on my show today. I've really enjoyed it, and I know my listeners will.
Thank you.
We covered some very interesting topics, should we say, today. I'd like to wish you well with everything you do in terms of business and certainly with the foundation. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony. And obviously, thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, everybody who's listening to us today.
All right. Thank you.